thank you for joining me today. Today we will be talking about divination for spellwork. So, one of the tools you can use for that is a pendulum. Of course, here I have this beautiful little azurite blueberry pendulum. I've used it before for the monthly readings. You can use tarot cards. Any tarot cards will do, really. And actually, for having been such a relic of early 2000s memedom, this is a very decent deck. As a precursor to your spell work. And I'll be showing you how to do that as well. Another thing that you might want to do is consult some astrology books and look at what kind of aspects would be favorable for your working, and if any of those alignments will be occurring soon. Obviously, you don't want to wait forever just to do spell work under a certain aspect. But some things can wait longer than others. If you intend to use a pendulum to perform divination before doing spell work, you could ask certain yes or no questions and see what kind of answers you get, such as, well, first off, my name is Verge. We get a yes answer for that. I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin with my 5 cats. And that's obviously not true. So you have to establish your baseline before you start asking questions. But then you can ask, will it be effective for me to perform this spell work to buy a new house? And then you get an answer, yes. should I put a curse on my neighbors when they play their music too loud? And you can see it's saying, no, you probably shouldn't do that. Because there are other ramifications to that. There are other ways to get them to stop playing their music loud, too. So, for this kind of working, you can use a plain white candle, or you can also purchase a road opener candle. And if you purchase a road opener candle, you can do whatever kind of cleansing on it that you would want to do, and then just burn that and see how it burns. And if there's a lot of soot on the inside of the glass, that could be resistance to whatever your working is. I also have this road opener oil, which I'll be using to anoint my candle. And I have, this is just a fancy letter opener that I like to use for carving into candles. And I can carve into it. You can carve a sigil if you want, or you can just carve your intention. And I want to remind you too that this is preliminary to what your actual spell work would be, but it's a good way of gauging the amount of resistance to whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. So now I have carved into my candle. And I'll use just a little bit of this to anoint it. And ideally, if you're bringing things into your life, you want to go from the base of the candle up to the wick. And if you're trying to send things out of your life, you start at the wick and work your way down to the base. And then your candle. Put it somewhere where it can burn down safely so that you can see how it melts. So, to perform tarot divination prior to this reading, I'm going to be using a layout that can be found in Modern Magic by Donald Michael Craig. But you don't have to use this particular layout. You can use a Celtic cross. You can use a 9 card, a 3 card, whatever you feel like is appropriate to what you want to discover about the reading. So these cards up here represent unknown spiritual influences, and this spiritual influence will be stronger on you than this one. So let's look at that first. We have the Justice card in the reverse. So maybe it's not the right time to buy a house right now. And looking over here, we have the Three of Swords, and it's also in the reverse, which is about strife. It's about arguments. And because it's reversed and because it's in the position of unknown influences, this would probably speak more to strife going on in the world at large than it would speak to any particular argument in your life. And then the spiritual advice card is in this position here. Now, in this deck, this is the Six of Cups card, and I am going to look in the book because the meanings in this Miss Cleo deck are slightly different from how they are in a regular tarot deck. Right, so the Six of Cups in this deck does mean things returning from the past. So I guess in this particular case, he's looking back to see his friend back here. And then next you come over here to your unconscious desires. And in my unconscious desires position, I have this Ace of Swords, and it's in the reverse. What I really want is change. A huge change. So maybe buying a house is something that I'm using to sublimate those feelings, but that what I actually want is change. And here is a card about conscious desires and motivations. And it's the Six of Swords, and it's in the reverse. So this is definitely speaking to my wanting to stay in LA. I'm not super particular, but there are so many advantages here, and so many things that are available here that aren't available anywhere else. Here we have a card about practical advice, and that is the King of Cups. The King of Cups is a very strong emotional presence. It could be a fatherly figure. My husband is a triple Cancer, so this would probably be him. And I know that when the time is right for us to buy a house, we're going to be on the same page about it and in total agreement. We've already talked a great deal about buying a house, but I think what I'm seeing here is that it's probably just not time right now. And then this is going to be the final outcome card. And it's the Four of Coins. And it's about conserving resources. So I think what this says right now is that I'm not currently conserving the resources that I'm going to need to buy a house. So in order for my working to be effective, I'm going to want to find a way to increase my savings. And you can do workings for that as well. And I'm probably going to wait until it's a more conducive time for everyone. So this is the candle that I burned for my spell working predictor and also as a clearing spell. So it's like road opener, and also to kind of see how much resistance there would be to whatever spell work I would be doing. And you can see that it didn't burn very completely. The wick burned pretty much all the way down, but as you can see, it didn't get completely consumed. And then some of it did leak out the side. So because it didn't burn very completely, I know that it is not quite time to do this particular spell work yet. But that's also in conjunction with the reading that I did. And furthermore, I can see that if I do further working to remove obstacles and to increase my savings, that at some point in the future it will be a much more auspicious time to do this kind of spell work, so there's really not any soot to speak of on the candle. It just didn't burn very completely, so I can see that there's not a lot of resistance to what I want to do, only that the time isn't right. Thank you so much for joining me today for this video about how to use divination to improve your spell work. If you have any extra comments or you'd like to let me know what you thought, please do so in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, and I hope to see you again very soon.